Hello there, children of God, children of Galilee. It's Miss Justine today with your Monday message. So, many of you have either started school or you're starting school tomorrow or next week. Our preschoolers come back here to Galilee next week. They start on the 4th. There's some parent-teacher conferences before that, and I know public schools have started today and will continue tomorrow. So, with that, I wanted to focus a little bit on Jesus as a friend. Now, I know that school is all about getting back to your friends and making new friends, and what friend are you going to sit next to in class, on the school bus, at lunch. But just remember that God and Jesus are your friend forever. They're a friend for everyone. And as we learned at VBS, we learned 5 Bible points about how God is a friend who's real. God is a friend who loves. God is a friend we can trust. God is a friend forever. And God is a friend for everyone. So today I wanted to dive into a wonderful Bible story that actually comes from John, so we can dust off the Gospel of John books that you might have received from VBS, because we're diving in to John chapter 21. It's the last chapter in the Gospel of John, and it talks about how Jesus appears to his disciples again after he died. So he rose, he was resurrected from that tomb, and he appears to his disciples after that. Go ahead and read that chapter, that full chapter in your Gospel of John book. But we also have a really cool book that I found in our library called I Am 40 Reasons to Trust God. I love this book. There's a book here. This is for ages, I believe 4 through 10, but there's even a younger one for younger ages. It's also called I Am, and it's so cute. It's called I Am, the Names of God for Little Ones. So cute. A lot of the same illustrations in this book, same author, same illustrator. So these are in our Galilee library. Take a look. But I'm going to talk about John chapter 21, and this summarizes that story here. It's called Breakfast with Jesus. Wow, I would love to have a breakfast with Jesus. Let's read about this. This says, "You are my friends if you do what I command you." From John chapter 21. Jesus was alive again. The disciples had seen him with their own eyes. But where was he now? When would they see him again? And what were they supposed to do in the meantime? "I'm going fishing," Peter said. "We'll go with you," said Thomas, Nathanael, James, John, and 2 other disciples. They climbed into their fishing boat and rowed out on the lake. They threw their fishing nets into the water. Ker-plash, ker-splash. Then they waited and waited and waited. They waited all night, but they didn't catch fish, not one. Oh, man. Look at this. This goes this way. Isn't that cool? So I got to read like this. Just as morning came, Peter and the others saw a man standing on the shore, but they didn't know who it was. The man called to them, "Friends, do you have any fish?" "No," they answered, "not one." "Throw your net over the right side of the boat," the man said, "and you will find some." "I guess we could try it," the disciples said to one another. They threw the big heavy net into the water on the right side of the boat. Suddenly the net filled with fish, lots and lots of fish. Something like this happened once before. Peter, James, and John remembered. "That man on the shore is the Lord," John said. Peter was so glad to see Jesus again that he jumped into the water and swam to shore while the other disciples brought in the boat. There on the beach, Peter saw Jesus and a little fire. Bread and fish were warming over the fire. Bring some of the fish you caught, Jesus said, and let's have breakfast. So, Peter pulled the full net of fish onto the beach and brought some of the fish to Jesus. When breakfast was ready, everyone gathered around the fire, and Jesus served the bread and fish to his friends. Oh, how good it was for the disciples to be with Jesus again. Then Peter heard Jesus ask, "Peter, do you love me more than these?" "You know that I do, Lord," Peter said. "Peter, do you love me?" Jesus asked again. "You know that I do, Lord," Peter said. "Peter, do you love me?" Jesus asked again. That made 3 times Jesus had asked Peter the same question. Just as Peter had denied knowing Jesus 3 times at the high priest's house. "Lord, you know everything," Peter said. "You know that I love you." "Feed my sheep," Jesus said, "and follow me." Jesus had forgiven Peter and given him important work to do. Isn't that great? That's the end of the story. Wow! How awesome. So when you're sitting at the lunch table, just think about this meal that Jesus shared with his disciples and know that you have a friend in Jesus forever. And you can even talk about that story. Like, did you know after Jesus died on the cross and he rose again, he appeared to his disciples and he gave them a big old net of fish and had them pull it onto shore and then cooked the fish with his disciples over a fire and had fish and bread with them for breakfast. Isn't that a cool story? But the awesomest part of that story is how Jesus forgave Peter. He asked Peter, did he love Jesus 3 times? And that's because Peter was so sad to have denied even knowing Jesus that he cried. It says in Mark 14:72 that Peter was so sorry for denying even knowing Jesus that he cried. So this was really awesome that Jesus forgave Peter and he even gave Peter a job. So if you do something wrong, and this is from our Adventure Bible. I always love the little anecdotes that they give at the end. So this is from our Adventure Bible when you read John chapter 21. It says at the end, if you do something wrong and worry that God will be angry, remember this story. Tell Jesus that you love him. He will forgive you and even give you important work to do for him. So, a little story about John chapter 21 and Jesus appearing to his disciples. He's truly the resurrected Christ. That's just something to celebrate. And then that he's our friend. That he wants to sit down and have breakfast with us, break bread with us. And he gives us big, important jobs to do. And he forgives us of our sins. So have a wonderful first day, week, month at school. And I will see you at church. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.